Joe Biden meets with Vladimir Putin for the first time as president, and he doesn't hide his lack of patience for questions afterward.
What do you do all the time? So when did I say I was coming?
And breaking this afternoon, a plane crash sparks a grass fire in Lone Tree. We are live with the very latest. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Denver7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're here tonight. And tonight, we know 2 people now and a dog were on board that plane when it crashed just before 2 p.m. and none survived.
Denver7 CB Cotton is joining us live from Lone Tree tonight with more details. CB?
Ann and Shannon, yes, 2 lives sadly cut short after this crash. We know it happened when this plane collided into electrical lines this afternoon. We also know that fire officials say around 1:45, people started calling in saying they were seeing a large plume of smoke. We know that smoke followed the moment this aircraft, a single-engine turboprop Lancer Evolution plane, crashed into those electrical lines. You can take a look at this video and see all of that smoke in the air. Again, we know 1 person and a dog inside tragically died. The plane was bound for Centennial Airport. No word yet on if the pilot made a distress call before the crash. Now the investigation will go more in depth with the aviation experts, NTSB and the FAA. For now, South Metro Fire Rescue is trying to ensure the crash site is safe.
Initially, of course, there's concerns with this hot weather that plane crash then could result in a brush fire. There was some grass that burned, but we are able to contain it to the area. You might have seen some airdrops. There is an electrical charge off of those power lines behind me. So we don't want our fire crews to go on those electrical lines. So for their safety and also to prevent fires, we're just dousing the area.
So far, the person on board has not yet been identified, but of course, we're going to continue to follow this story, keeping you all updated. Reporting live in Lone Tree, I'm CB Cotton, Denver7.
All right, CB. And well, fires are certainly likely when things are as hot and dry as they currently are along Front Range.
More heat records are falling, and Mike Nelson's here tracking our weather action day. Mike?
100 degrees for the second day in a row, the second record high temperature, eclipsing a mark just set last year at 97 degrees. And across the state, 102 at Greeley and Sterling, 104 at Ray. The current temperatures 96 in Denver. It's dropped a little bit out at Ray. There's a thunderstorm moving in onto the eastern plains, but still 103 out west at Grand Junction. And even up at Steamboat, 91 degrees currently. We do have scattered showers and thunderstorms that have popped up. They won't bring a whole lot of relief, but we have a slight chance along the Front Range tonight. This is a little stronger one, not severe, but producing a lot of lightning. And here's what it looks like out there, looking off to the west from our Viero camera in Ray. As far as our headlines on this particular night, we'll have another day of record-setting temperatures coming up for tomorrow. Smoke and haze will be on the increase, but there is relief by the end of the week and a better chance of rain coming up this weekend and early next week. Details in about 15 minutes.
We will take that. Thank you. And with record temperatures affecting all of us, the city of Denver is opening its doors to help people escape the heat.
Libraries and rec centers now are being set up as cooling centers. And Denver7's newest reporter, Bayan Wang, spent the day in the heat and joins us live tonight. Bayan, everybody is allowed at these facilities.
Hey, good evening. That's right. Anyone's allowed to go to these facilities. And I got to say, a cooling center sounds really good right now. As Mike was just telling us all, temperatures reaching just over 100 degrees in parts of town. And I got to tell you, it certainly feels that way. So officials are really urging anybody who is starting to heat up and wants to enjoy some cold water and cold AC to go to these facilities, which actually started operating yesterday, but we did meet some folks today who found more creative ways to stay cool.
Tumbling down a water slide is an ideal way to beat what has been a record-breaking week of hot temperatures across Denver.
As you see, I'm barely out here. I'm sweating.
And that's why the mini water park in one Highland neighborhood isn't just for kids.
I'll come out here and put my feet in the water for a minute and probably take 3 cold showers just to get through it.
Getting through the heat has prompted officials to roll out cooling centers at 10 recreational centers, according to City and County Director of Recreation, James Salinas.
You're trying to beat the heat and you just want to come in and cool down a little bit. All of our facilities have air conditioning.
Hospitals have also been monitoring the heat spell, with Health One confirming at least 6 heat-related patients since Tuesday within their facilities. So far, no hospital has reported an influx of these patients. For Denverites like Bruna de Ghost, the heat isn't enough to stop a stroll outside.
The number one goal is to still have fun. It is summer, so.
And even though the kids have a greater tolerance for the blistering sun, what they don't know can still hurt them.
You have to have hats, sunscreen, try to make sure they're indoors, especially with the baby. They can get really overheated. So you want to make sure that they always have, that they get little breaks.
And as of right now, officials are currently planning on keeping these cooling centers operating till at least tomorrow. But if the weather calls for it, they said they have really no issue in continuing these cooling centers, extending the time frame until cooler temperatures come our way. For now, we're live in downtown. Bayan Wang, Denver 7.
Bayan, thank you, and welcome to Denver 7. We're glad you're with us. Now, all week long, we are talking to experts about tips to stay cool. You saw some there. And one ER doctor says water is important, but so is salt.
You should have some kind of a salty snack that will help you to kind of retain more water and get some of those electrolytes back. When you're sweating a lot, you lose not only water, but you also lose body salts.
Our heat wave coverage continues right now on the denverchannel.com. And Mike has put together a special in-depth hiking forecast for those of you looking to get outside this week.
I owe my last question an apology. I shouldn't have been such a wise guy with the last answer I gave.
A rare moment of regret from President Biden on the tarmac in Geneva today, shortly after a heated exchange with a CNN reporter during a press conference, and Biden apologized for his attitude. The moment ended a busy day for the president, who met Russian President Vladimir Putin for the first time as president.
Now, publicly, both sides say the overall tone was positive, and both world leaders showed more emotion than we're used to seeing in the press conferences this afternoon.
Here is Karen Travers from Geneva.
First, a handshake.
Can he move?
And a chaotic photo op inside an 18th century villa in Geneva. Then President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin got down to business, meeting behind closed doors for 3 hours. Putin held the first press conference, calling the talks constructive and saying there was no hostility. Asked who won the high-stakes summit, the Russian leader did not bite, saying it wasn't a competition.
Is on the whole, we spoke the same language.
President Biden getting the last word.
It was important to meet in person, so there can be no mistake about or misrepresentations about what I wanted to communicate. I did what I came to do.
The president saying the tone of the meetings was positive.
Where we disagreed, I disagreed, stated where it was. Where he disagreed, he stated, but it was not done in a hyperbolic atmosphere.
Cybersecurity was a big topic in the wake of recent ransomware attacks that the administration says originated in Russia. Putin today taking no responsibility, but President Biden saying he drew a firm line.
I talked about the proposition that certain critical infrastructure should be off limits to attack, period, by cyber or any other means. I gave them a list.
Asked later what he would do if Putin ignored that, the president issuing a threat.
I pointed out to him we have significant cyber capability, and he knows it.
President Biden said before boarding Air Force One that he felt good about his first overseas trip, but earlier he said time will tell if his summit with Vladimir Putin was successful. Karen Travers, ABC News, Geneva.
Next at 5, boozy shopping. You can already browse Amazon with a glass of wine. Soon you might be able to recreate the experience at a Colorado mall.
Plus, a warning for those who believe the coronavirus threat has ended.
Never underestimate this virus.
We'll explain the Delta variant and bring you context on how it could impact your life.
Hot and dry again today, but there is rain and cooler weather in the 7-day.
Well, weeks after JBS paid an $11 million ransom to hackers, a report says 4 in 5 businesses that are hit by ransomware are at risk of being attacked again. This is according to cybersecurity technology company Cybereason. The same report says most victims of ransomware suffered, quote, significant revenue loss.
Soon you may be able to grab a beer and walk around Park Meadows, the area where most of the restaurants are located. The city of Lone Tree approved a common consumption permit for Park Meadows last night. Now there's still some hurdles to be worked out before alcohol sales can begin. We promise to keep you updated. Phoenix Suns star Chris Paul tested positive for COVID-19 and is now out of the NBA playoffs, quote, indefinitely. Paul and the Suns swept the Nuggets out of the playoffs over the weekend. He is vaccinated, by the way, but he has not commented.
Well, it can't stay this hot forever, right? Well, Mike Nelson's tracking some cooler temperatures next.
Plus, the latest frontier in the fight against COVID, how Colorado is dealing with the Delta variant, and what we can learn from our friends on the other side of the world.